The real problem was that, while this girl was having an orgasm, I was taking a projectile shit on 4 people behind me. Make sure to watch until the end. Some of these responses are unbelievable. Welcome to T2S Reddit. If you enjoy the video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and enable post notifications for more daily content. r/ask Reddit. What is the worst thing you've ever seen or heard in a game of truth or dare? This is a long ass story, but I promise the payoff is there. First college party. Commence after party truth/dare with about 8 people. 3 AM rolls around. We're down to 6 people, but things start getting a little raunchy. A kiss here, a flash there, take off an article of clothing, all in good fun. 3:30 rolls around. Damn, I still remember the time this really cute girl who I was crushing on since high school asked me, and I answered truth, because by this time I was down to my boxers and I didn't feel like sitting with my dick out. Anyway, she asks me some stupid question. I forget what it was exactly, along the lines of what's the craziest place you fucked? I was a virgin at the time, so my answer, naturally, was a lie. However, it was a boring one. I said the living room at my parents' house. Everyone started booing me, saying that answer was not worth the turn, and told the girl to go again. I got really embarrassed because it was not only a giant lie, but a giant lie that was apparently too prude. For some reason, let's call it alcohol and weed, I agreed to go again. Inside I was having a panic attack and wanted to cry. Yes, men have feelings too. So to avoid a repeat of a sexual question, I went with dare. Fuck it. I thought, I'm decently hung, so I'd rather have my dick out than people find out that I never put my dick in. I was 18. In my defense, losing your virginity was everything back then. So she dares me to go down on her. This is literally every dude's wet dream. The girl you want more than anything but thought you couldn't have just asks you to eat that pussy. So I obliged, whole fucking heartedly. It's all downhill from here, folks. As soon as it sunk in what she asked, I got a massive fucking boner. I was wearing those peekaboo boxers, so guess who showed his face without me noticing? And guess whose face began drooling? So, yeah, Precum is a real thing, is something I learned that night. So here I'm sitting across from the hottest girl ever who just asked me to eat her out, with my dick oozing, throbbing, and leaking all over my boxers, surrounded by 3 other girls and another guy, as well as some random party stragglers just watching the game unfold. It gets pretty bad. I notice what's going on, but I don't think much of it, because she already has her panties off. So all she does is hike up her skirt and go spread eagle. Holy shit. I'd never done this before. The most I've done with a girl was kiss at that point. I should preface this all by saying that I get gassy when I'm nervous. Some of you may know where this is going, but I guarantee you fucking don't. So now she's spread eagle on the floor and I need to make a move. So I do what any girl loving guy would do in the most awkward way possible. I shifted onto all 4s and crawled towards her like a fucking tiger or something. I put my face deep in the snatch, but my hands aren't touching her or anything. Instead, I'm still on all 4s, like I'm a puppy sniffing her pussy. After a few seconds the position gets horribly uncomfortable, and I shift my weight in such a way that my ass is now sticking up, and my knees underneath my body. What happens next is the single worst 30 seconds of my life, followed by years of shame. She begins moaning and tells me to take off my boxers. I quickly oblige, but I can only get them half off in this position without stopping what I'm doing. So basically I'm now mooning 3 chicks and a dude that are sitting behind me, my hairy asshole perfectly on display, about 2 feet from their faces. The chick I'm eating out starts moaning more and saying she's about to come. Anxiety gets the better of me. I get super nervous. Did I mention I get gassy when I'm nervous? Did I mention that alcohol also gives me horrible indigestion? The more things heat up, the more I'm now focusing on what is to be the biggest fart of my life. She begins to come. I can feel it from her vag and other muscles tensing up. I get so excited, but simultaneously relieved, that I can stop and excuse myself to go to the bathroom and let out a fart. Except I got relieved too soon. The fart was explosive, but the real problem was that I hadn't taken a shit that day. The real problem was that, while this girl was having an orgasm, I was taking a projectile shit on 4 people behind me. The smell. Oh god, the smell. I didn't want to turn around, but I had to before the girl was even done with her orgasm. They were fucking coated. One of the girls got it worse than everyone else. Her face looked like it was dipped in a bucket of Nutella, chunky watery Nutella. The dude got it bad too, and they all got it in their hair, their mouth. Oh god. So now this shitting all happened in just several seconds. So when the girl finally opens her eyes, all she sees is my gaping asshole with bits of poop leaking out of it. I turned around to look at the damage, me on all fours, and the other people soaked in fesses, starting to scream. She screamed. I screamed. The dude began hitting me, covering me in my own shit that was falling off his face and neck, except several seconds after he started hitting me, he began vomiting. His hands slip on the vomit, and he collapses on top of me. So if you will, two naked dudes on top of each other, coated in cum, vomit and explosive diarrhea, surrounded by hot chicks, most of whom are also covered in poop. TLDR. Just read it. This story has haunted me for the last 5 years. Epilogue. I actually dated the girl for 2 years, and the chick who got coated in my shit the worst is now my best friend. The dude I actually never saw again. He left that night. I saw the other two girls from time to time, but we never made eye contact. For some reason, people started calling me ass candy at parties after that. The nickname stuck around until I moved cities a year ago. When I was 15, a girl I was trying to date invited my friend and me over to her house, where she was babysitting. When we arrived, she was there with 4 of her girlfriends, including her one extremely slutty and rumored STI wielding friend. After drinking everything in the house she thought the parents wouldn't miss, we played truth or dare. Eventually, the girl I liked dared me to go have sex in the master bedroom with the slut. I passed and took truth, but my friend took the dare and went off with her. They came back out about 5 minutes later, and no one believed they had done anything. 9 months after that, everybody believed them. One of the popular girls in my high school admitted to regularly pooping in her hand. She took truth and was asked to tell an embarrassing secret or something like that. She said that she was always embarrassed whenever there was a splashing sound in the toilet when she went to poop, so she'd always poop in her hand and then slide it quietly into the water. She went from being a popular girl to being the hand poop girl pretty quick. Edit. Thank you for the gold, kind stranger. I'd shake your hand, but I've learned that it's best not to. No telling what kind of shit you've been touching. I watched my friend take a shit in the park. Then we threw rocks at it. I miss being a teenager. When asked to present a deep secret about themselves, one of the really hot girls, this was high school, straight up admitted to using whipped cream to get her cat, Erin, their tunges like sandpaper, to lick her. The awkwardness escalated exponentially like a nuke in the room, seeping into the very core of every living being present. I got dared to use a zipline that nobody had likely touched in decades. So we climbed up a mountain while wasted in the middle of the night, found that my friend was not bullshitting and that it actually did exist, used our zip on it, and sailed over a 1,500-foot drop. And then the thought occurred to me that I had no way of getting back, and I had not even brought a flashlight with me, and had absolutely no knowledge of part of the mountain I was on. So I basically stood in place for 7 hours or so. I don't know if that was the worst, but it was definitely the most stupid, especially considering that the whole point of the game was to get with some girls who were no longer in a partying mood after I disappeared into the night. At age 18, while at a friend's house digging around looking for a lighter, he finds an adult toy in his single dad's room. It was one of those hot pink, sparkly dildos with the rabbit thing on it. Something that didn't really seem like a guy toy, and it was in the spare nightstand, so we assumed maybe an old girlfriend's or something. Fast forward a few weeks later, his dad is out of town. There are a few of us over playing truth or dare, and I dare him to do something to his dad's dildo. At first his face turned 10 shades of red, embarrassed in front of everyone else, but then he manned up, grabbed it with a Ziploc bag worn like a glove, then rubbed some cut open habanero peppers all over it. This was a Friday night and his dad was supposed to be back Saturday. Saturday night rolls around and he, our other friend, and myself are all at his house, quietly, as the one sneaking in, and I had been drinking. This was roughly 8 p.m. ish. as the other friend, and I stood in the driveway. We hear the most god-awful, blood-curdling scream. The type of scream that sounds like someone being murdered. We dash in just in time to meet our friend in the hallway as he flies into his dad's room. His mom, dad's ex-wife, is in the floor but naked, curled up in a ball screaming her head off. Apparently his mom and dad had been screwing around behind the family's back. A hospital trip followed, and after spending the night in the ER, not knowing WTF happened, they ended up coming out in the open, getting back together, and then remarried. That was 12 years ago, and they are still together. For their wedding present I gave them a jar of habaneros that they still don't understand to this day. Thanks for watching. Subscribe below for more daily content.